Okay, we're going to do it for this actually last section. Um, is going through just iManager a little bit and just showing you some of the features. We're not going to get into everything today and actually doing everything. We'll just be introducing you to it to see what to show you where things are and just give you an overview. When we come into iManager, it defaults to roles and tasks. So if you click back on roles and tasks up on top, you'll be able to see the screen on the left, the main options on the left, what options you have. If you click on any one of these categories, they'll open up and you can see things underneath it. Depends which version of the browser you're running. If you're running like IE or Firefox, sometimes they'll actually have all these expanded already. Makes it a little bit more difficult to navigate because there's just so many things that you're looking through there. Looking at just a couple of these things, under so things that we'll probably be working with under directory administration is where we've been doing a couple things already, such as if I want to create, what would be another team? What are the Bears? What division are they? NFC North. So I can create an object, and then it asks me for what kind of object, an organizational unit again. Um, and what do I want to call it? I want to call them the Bears. But now I don't really have a context to work with, so I'm sort of like just working blindly. I can look at the browse and I can scroll through here. I want to go up because I'm currently in Acme. I want to go down to NFL and then NFC and then choose North. So you can certainly do that, but you never get a picture of the full. So if I click OK, it did it, but I don't have a picture of the whole directory structure at this point. Where it's really nice having this view as you're working with it. It's like North. Oh yeah, now you can sort of see other things that are around there. But you can do it from there. It's a central place for doing that. Other directory administration things are deleting objects. Just like we did before, I want to get rid of something. I click to delete the object. I go and search for the object. I want to delete East. And then if I clicked OK, it actually delete East because there's nothing in it. Modifying the objects, I can modify users, I can modify organizational units, modify roles, modify servers, volumes. It's any object that's in there. When I click on modify an object, I have to find that object. Again, I can click on and select, on user. Just like I modified admin before, this is another way of modifying admin. You can see that I have a lot of options underneath here. I can move an object as long as that object is not a container. So I can move that user to a different organizational unit. I can move a volume underneath a container. I can do all those kinds of things. And rename objects. I can rename any object. I can rename containers, organizational units, users, servers, roles, whatever. Other things that we'll probably get involved in, we'll eventually might get into net storage, but some of the stuff that we worked with in Remote Manager, where we're able to upload and download files and delete files and things like that, we can do the same thing underneath here, files and folders. Again, not quite the full graphical interface of seeing the whole directory structure. All I do is get an upload button. So I want to upload something. I click upload. What do I want to upload? I'm specify the path, uploaded path and file, and the file to upload. So where do I want to put this? Well, I'm going to have to find a place to put it. So let's put it under data, and we'll put it under, we'll put it in IT. So I'm going to put a file in IT. I choose the file, and well, let's do a song. So I'm going to upload that file to the IT directory. And it uploaded it. So I click OK. If I went to my Windows Explorer now, and I clicked on my G drive, and it logged me out. I can go under IT, and I can see that the song that I just uploaded there. I can do the same thing with delete. I click delete. Well, what do you want to delete? Well, let's go find it. It's under data, under IT, and there's the file that I want to delete. And I click OK, and it just deletes it. Clicking back over here, F5 to refresh it, it's gone. I can look at deleted files from here as well. Where's that list from? I can click under data again, and then data, and then choosing IT. These are the files that I have here. Who deleted them, when they deleted them. I can click on it and click salvage, and it brings the file back. I can download files. So there's a file on the network somewhere that I want to get on this local machine. Remember, all this stuff is web-based. So this is not how you typically grabbing files off of here. You'd be using Windows Explorer, grabbing the file, copying, pasting, doing whatever. This is when you're remotely accessing it on a different network, on a different device that doesn't have all that stuff. So I just find the file that I want to download and the music file, and now it's going to download to my local computer, whatever device I have this running from the web browser. I can go to properties. Last week we talked about attributes and properties of files, read-only, system, copy, inhibit, all that kind of stuff. We're going to be able to do all that as well. We do a few things with groups. If you're familiar with using Windows Server, who's used Windows Server? Windows Server does lots with groups, like everything's with groups. We don't use groups the same way at all. We'll do everything, most things using organizational units. And whenever possible using organizational units, they're just there. It's not a double entry type thing. And so we do use groups, just use much, much more conservatively. Creating groups, deleting groups, modifying the members, moving, renaming, and viewing my groups. When we get into the user accounts, which we're going to start next week with actually creating users and roles and that kind of stuff, we'll start playing with groups as well. Help desk is an actual role of itself. These roles and tasks, by the way, are completely administratable. I am admin, so I have access to everything. This list is customizable, and you can restrict access to certain roles and tasks. So if there was, in fact, a help desk, I could allow them just to see and access the help desk roles. Just because you can see a role doesn't mean you can still do anything. There's lots of rights and things that have to go underneath there, like setting a password. I can't just say, hey, if you can see this link, you can set a password. I have to give you rights to be able to set passwords on the different areas of where I want you to set the passwords. But these are things that you can do. As admin, you see them all. So this is a nice, simple, easy way so I can set a password for somebody. I can create a user very quickly. Whether you want your help desk to do that, it's kind of debatable. Some places are, depending on how large the organization is. Other times, just network administrators would. Clear lockouts. We're going to get into security lockouts. If you enter your password so many times wrong, it locks your account. Very, very, very common help desk call. So right here's a quick link for that. iFolder we'll talk about later on. Printing. This is the complete printing system. We have brokers, managers, and then actual print objects. This is where you create them. This is where you manage them. This is where you delete them. So it's sort of putting all that processes together. Let's see. Partitions and replicas. This is looking at kind of what we talked about already. Unfortunately, we only have one server to work with, so there's not a whole lot of replicas to look at. But you can see that replica view. What am I looking at? Well, I have to find a partition right off the server. And it's going to say, here's your replicas. If it had multiple servers, you only have one master, and then everything else is a read-write replica. If I had partitions, like I broke off accounting before to move it around for finance, you could also view the partition information. And Right now, this is just one big, large partition, so it's not broken up to anything else. And you can create partitions, move the partitions, and then ultimately merge them back again, just like we did with accounting. Here's another place to do that. Here's another passwords section dealing with just password policies, universal passwords, and things like that. We can work with rights in here. Um, Not a great place, but we can modify the trustees and inherited rights filters. These are the two main things that we work with when we work with assigning rights later on. Um, Again, as I'm going through this, I'm just thinking, you're probably thinking this is like really overwhelming with all these different categories. We're going to do most of our stuff directly off of this image of the tree. If I want to give rights to something, come on. Okay. If this ever happens, like it just says loading, just click on browse and then click back to tree. Just sort of hurries it along a little bit. So if I'm giving rights and trustees and user management, I can do everything right through here. This is more if you're doing one quick task, like, oh, I have to change a password, or I want to look at this feature, I can quickly go to that specific area. Where were we? Under rights. I can modify trustees and modify the inherited rights filters, or view effective rights. What does Bob, what can he actually do in this folder? And that's based on all of the other rights that have flowed down from above. Storage, I do have storage underneath here. We worked a lot of this in Remote Manager with pools, volumes, partitions, and devices. If I look at devices, this is the same thing that I would see. Let's see here. Here we go. This is the same thing that I would see using Remote Manager. I have 3 physical devices. I have 3 virtual hard drives on here. Here's disk 1, disk 2, and then disk 3. The option to initialize a disk and all that. Working with pools. You can do some of the pool stuff here as well. You know, here's my data pool, my home pool. I can, remember we had expand the pools. Here's a way of increasing the pools. Working with, you know, space restrictions. Well, actually, that'd be under volumes. I can click on volumes. And now I have, you know, user quotas. You know, just working with the same type of things. This is an option under here. We could have kept everything under iManager and not even introduced you to Remote Manager. I definitely like Remote Manager better. It's just a little bit better graphical interface of what you're working with. They're definitely integrating this more and more, and as new versions come out, it's going to be more integrated all under iManager. It just seems a little bit overwhelming with all the buttons. I kind of like the view under Remote Manager better. It just shows me my device, my pools, and then my volumes underneath there. It just seemed very, very easy to work with. And then what we already got into before, when we changed the admin's password, was under users. Obviously, you can create them, delete them, move them, rename them, modify them, disable them, and enable them. Again, just really shortcuts to things that we'll be doing the longer way later on. I was going to start introducing like naming of things like users and objects. The more I think about that, that's not going to make sense for this week because next week we'll actually start creating some of those users, real users and maybe real players on the NFL and that kind of stuff. Then we'll actually get to see of how names get to be made and what is the fully qualified, domain name for objects and how that all works out. That makes more sense when we have more users to work with. So that's really all I have for you this week. You have plenty of lab time today to practice this. Working with organizational units looks simple, but all of a sudden you walk away from it and you start coming back into it and you start applying it. Now, how do I do this? Where's that button or whatever and clicking it? I would strongly encourage you to be practicing this over and over and over. Create Garopa, create Acme, create the NFL, create the U.S. government, legislative, executive, judicial, and then break everything down underneath there. Whatever, just create. When you are done, practice deleting. And if I'm deleting, I can't just delete Acme. I can choose Acme and say delete. And are you sure you want to continue? And it says 0 objects were deleted. The following objects could not be deleted. Not a very useful message. Doesn't tell you why it can't be deleted, but it is because it's not empty. I can get rid of HR and IS. There's nothing under here. You can choose multiple objects at the same time as long as you're checking them. And I click delete, and it's going to delete those 2 objects. The little parentheses behind here tells you how many objects are in there. So I know I can't delete finance because I know there's something in there. So I have to go under finance, delete finance, go up a level, go under sales, get rid of east and west at the same time because there's no parentheses with numbers. I know there's nothing under there. And I can go up a level and I can delete, but I won't right now. Even just navigating, get used to that. I'm clicking on the current level. I'm clicking on the little double dots to go to the parent level. I'm clicking on the NFL to take me into the NFL. I'm clicking on AFC to get into AFC. I'm clicking on East to get in East. And then I'm clicking on the up or the double dots, to get up a directory. Or you can just click on the left-hand side too. I want to go directly from NFC West all the way up to Acme Finance. I just click on the left-hand side where I want to go. Get comfortable with navigating, get comfortable with creating, get comfortable with deleting, even practice moving a couple of them. Say that the Packers end up moving, to the AFC, move them to the AFC. Then you say, oh, that was a mistake, then move them back. Just practice those things. Practice, practice, practice. Questions or comments? Anything? Okay, a quick scale of 1 to 10. 10 is like, this is like super easy, and 1 is, I have no clue what you're talking about. You're not going to offend me at all. Who's like a 1, a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's great. We're starting at 6. This is fantastic. 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's great. I'm like really happy. It's hard reading you guys sometimes. So it's just like, I can't tell if it's like, this is really easy, I'm bored, just move on, or like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So we're definitely 6 and above. So great. So, okay. Like I said, the rest of the day is yours. Please practice.